Hello, and welcome to the Soul Sisters and Seekers podcast. My name is Aruna.
I'm Liz.
I'm Gayathri.
I'm Vidhya.
And we are four friends who are asking big questions as we move forward on our respective spiritual journeys. We wish to build a community of seekers, and we hope that you join us in that effort by subscribing to our channel. Today, our question comes from Vidhya.
Hello, friends. My question is, does attachment impact your spiritual progress? So in spirituality, it is said attachment is the root cause of pain and suffering, right? Attachment also creates fear. It sometimes feels like it hinders with our freedom. Just imagine like a bird being caged or chained to a fence. Like, do you feel like that sometimes? Even though we are connected to a lot of things, you can think of things, people, or ideas, practices. You can be attached to anything in life. But do you feel more connected, like connected from the heart or like attached from the mind? So curious to know what each one of you think.
I think when you said, does attachment hinder your spiritual progress? I definitely feel a certain amount it does, because as I find myself on a spiritual journey kind of at this point in my life, and my partner is not necessarily on the same journey with me, and I feel that there's a lot of compromises that I have to make, and I'm attached to the relationship and the life that we've built. And because of that attachment, I feel like I'm not progressing the way I want, or I'm limiting myself a certain amount, because I do have my foothold into this world that's kind of attached to daily life, attached to marriage, attached to um the way that I've always been. But then there's a part of me that wants to fly, that wants to move forward, that wants to go and do more philanthropic activities, that wants to actually potentially sell my house, and imagining myself kind of living, just serving others. But I can't do that because of the relationship that I'm in. But at the same time, there's fear attached to just letting go of this as well, right? So it's a difficult situation to be in.
Yeah, and we are all in the same situation, I think, right? Being in a family life. Yeah, go ahead, Gayatri.
I just want to connect the two things that both Vidya and Aruna, you guys spoke about fear. Vidya, you said, you mentioned that attachment brings about fear. I think it's the other way around. Fear is what creates attachment. Because with the attachment, there's a sense of holding. There's a sense of fear of letting go. There's a fear of stepping into the unknown. And so we have attachment to our families, to our spouses, to anything, right? Even our spiritual practice can be an attachment.
But isn't it like the other way around? Because I was thinking you are attached to people or things, or be it anything, but you fear, whether the detachment, if you think of detachment, or even like death, for example, right? Like death of your loved one, that causes fear, right? That is because of us being attached.
Is the opposite of attachment detachment? Or is the opposite of attachment peace, equanimity,
freedom?
Yeah, I'm not sure that the opposite of attachment is detachment.
No, I was just going to say, I think there's fear on both sides. I think there's fear in attachment, and I think there's fear in the opposite of whatever that
then if we look at what is the definition of attachment, then why do we become attached to something or someone?
Yeah, I also read somewhere about this, right? Attachment is something that happens from a mental level, like it's connected to the mind. That's why when we are attached to something or someone, we do have some expectations out of them, right? Which eventually leads into disappointments when something doesn't happen the way that we want it to happen. And the other fact that I read about is about being connected. Like if we are connected, it's something from the heart. They say it's not at the mental level. You are connected to people, you are connected to things, not in a way that you expect something out of it.
So what
That's
about
how-
children though, Vidya? What about children? Because I mean, we are attached to children. We don't really, do we really expect a lot from that relationship, which is kind of based on unconditional love?
You're asking like whether we expect something from our children?
Yeah, is that like, I mean, because I think attachment also comes from that relationship where it's based on love,
Mhm.
especially with children, right? Or our
Right,
parents.
especially with children or partners.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, just one way to think about that. Yes, we don't expect our children to give us anything back. So that means unconditional love. But if we're truly, truly truthful with ourselves, there's a sense of satisfaction we get with their reliance on us, with their looking at us for help and validation. That gives us a certain sense of worth, certain sense of indirect love. So to say that, we are unconditionally giving, yes, that's true. Unconditionally loving, yes, that's true. But we are getting something back if we are truthful with ourselves from that relationship. And that we expect. What happens when our kids get older and walk their own path? We feel hurt. Why do we feel hurt? Right?
Yeah. I think, no relationship is based on unconditional love. This is just my opinion.
I agree.
But we do have, right, like some conditions in our mind. Maybe we let go of it easily when it comes to our kids.
Yeah.
But if it is with our partner, we expect a little bit more, right?
I think what you said there is perfect, Vidya, is that we have conditions on the love, but we may not express it. It may not be open, right?
Yeah.
In that way, we think it's unconditional.
Mhm.
Is that what we're looking for? Are we looking to feel secure in our relationships, that we can detach and have that separateness that's healthy? Can we be secure in all our relationships, not to have this unhealthy attachment to them?
Yeah, there is. The answer is then feel full within your own self, right? Then you're not looking to anything from anyone. You're fully able to be yourself and give off yourself. But if you're constantly looking for validation or anything of that sort with someone else, then there is attachment, there is pain, there is sadness. So I think it's bringing it back to our own selves and finding completion within our own selves.
Yeah, because I was just thinking from the perspective of even during meditation, right? It's because of attachment to many things. It's not just people also. Even if we ignore family, we are attached to many things. Like, for example, some of our habits that we are attached to, right? Even if you cannot get them done during the day, it does impact you at your mental level. So, so I'm curious to know, like, just for fun, like, leaving aside family, do you have any attachments to any of your practice or habit? Like, if I don't do this today or get this today, I'm going to be affected or impacted.
I think I'm
Just
attached to
something
my
simple.
home. I mean, I think, like having the security of a home, having the comforts of home. Even when I travel, I always, think about at some point I can go home. Like I do have a home base. I think when I think about, as much as I want to, I dream about a life where, I don't have that attachment. I'm already feeling the pain of not having my home that we've built like over the many years have made it exactly what we want, right? So it's almost like a part of you.
I feel attached to many little things. And sometimes I think, I shouldn't feel that way, even to my like artificial jewelry, for example, right? I'm very picky and choosy while buying them, and I organize them at a great extent. And then when my girls take my jewelry or use my jewelry without asking me, I get mad. Like, I'm like, oh, no. Like something very simple, right? And then we talk about like a spiritual progress, letting go of things, and not connected to anything materialistic.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, I agree with you, but yeah, we always want to come back home. That sense of security is there. And wherever we go, we want to return back safely. Yeah, I feel that sometimes.
And we get lessons, right? Like we get lessons when we lose things. And that's when it's like a
Yes.
lesson in letting go. Because it's like, while I was in India, like you talked about, jewelry.
Yeah.
While I was in an auto, I think a taxi, and I got out and I checked, he left, the cab driver left, and I have his number and so on. But then I'm like, I had this beautiful teardrop shape earring, one of my favorite earrings, and then I had one earring and the other one was gone.
Oh.
And then I'm like, oh my God. Like, and I was kind of napping in the cab. So it's got to be in the cab, right? So I called the guy back up, or it dropped somewhere between me coming out of the cab and going into the hotel or whatever. So, and I was like, oh my God, this is one of my favorite earrings and I've lost it. So then called up the cab driver and he couldn't find it. And he was panicking because he thought it was, something super valuable, because I sent him a picture and it looked like it was all encrusted with diamonds. He's like, no, madam, I don't have it. It's okay, don't worry. But yeah, at the end of the day, I still have the other earring and I can't throw it out.
And sometimes I think, right, when you
Yeah.
die, at least when I die, I feel like I'm going to be watching over my children. It's not even gold and diamonds I'm
No,
talking about, right?
exactly.
Just
Yeah.
like arranging, keeping something in
Yeah.
its spot and like maintaining them. Like
Mhm.
it just gives me happiness.
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
I totally understand.
I think attachment to things is something I've worked on.
Okay.
So I understand the home part, like feeling comfortable and knowing you have a home. That attachment is grounding in a big way. So yes, I get that. And I value that as well. But with things,
Okay, what about photographs?
nothing.
No, not even
No.
kids, pictures of your kids, pictures of your parent, like mom,
Well, I have them.
books.
So I'm not,
Yeah, but
I
can
have
you
them.
detach? Can you just let them
So it's
go?
an interesting question. The timing of the question is interesting because my mom passed 1 year and 3 months ago, and yesterday was her birthday. And I made the decision to go through and edit everything I have of hers. So I'm finally at the point where I can kind of edit and let go of some of the things of hers. But yeah, I mean, it's things, right? It's we don't take it with us, and it means nothing. It's what the meaning is what we give it.
But when you let go of pictures and so on, our memory is it's a fleeting thing. And for me, it's like, I don't want to forget what my father used to look like, right? I'm not there where I can just rely on my memory alone. So
yeah. So to your point, then photos, I don't think I'll ever let go of, but things I will.
At that stage right now where I'm going through all these pictures, I want to become more of a minimalist because I don't, like if I move one more time, I'm not taking all this stuff with me again. It's hard to pack up and move all this stuff, and I didn't realize how much stuff I actually had. And that what am I attached to? Why am I keeping this stuff? I have about 100 different books that will I read these books? And I can't give them away. I can't, I still think I'm going to read them, and all those pictures, like, and I'm not ready to part with them.
And that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think of minimalist living too, like, because I feel it's only when you move from a bigger house to a smaller house that's going to happen. Honestly, otherwise you're going to just fill your house with stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think out of all of you, I'm probably the worst, because in terms of attachment, because I have a closet full of like my kids' stuffed animals, and a little bit hopeless at this point.
Good. So I have just one more question I thought of asking. This is also just for fun. Like, have you had to let go of anything that you were very much attached to? And what was it? If you can share something. And what helped you, or like what tools you used? Think of coffee, right? Like coffee as first thing in the morning. Maybe something that you always loved or loved. if you had to let go of coffee, how did you deal with it? It could be something simple.
Question is,
Simple
how would
habit.
others deal with it? Without coffee?
Good point. Good point.
Good point. Yeah.
Please go have your coffee now.
Stay away from me.
Yeah.
Don't take away my coffee. Oh my gosh. I think little things like that, the little pleasures of life are okay. And there's nothing wrong with a couple
Mm.
cups of coffee in the morning. And, if we want to be attached to that, I think that's okay. Love myself too much to take away something that really, really pleases me.
Mhm.
So
I think for me, cheese, because when I stopped eating cheese, but I do admit I did cheat the other day and I had like a very small piece of brie. But but other than that, in general, I don't eat cheese anymore. So, and that's been for a few years. So yeah.
Mm.
But that's because of like a larger goal as to, my goal of living a life that doesn't impact, negatively on animals. So I do my best. I'm not 100% there, but yeah, that's one of the things I did find a little bit hard to give up. And, occasionally when I'm stuck for there's nothing else to eat, no other alternatives. And I'm just like, okay, I'm at the point where I don't want to, accumulate karma because I feel like I'm depriving myself. So I don't want to kind of like want something and then, have my next life come back because I didn't have that piece of brie. And then I'll be working in a brie factory or something, right? So to prevent that,
Yeah,
I'm like, you
yeah.
know what? Like, okay, I'm just gonna do this and say,
Yeah,
okay.
because it addictions also it's talked about highly in spiritual world, right? Like it's like they say you should not even be addicted to good habits like
Mhm.
exercising, for
Yeah.
example, right? Like practicing something every day, like don't
Mhm.
get addicted to it, they say. But it is
Mhm.
difficult, right? Like just like coffee is one example, but I feel there are so many things. If you don't do that day, then it does kind of affect you. So.
Mhm. How about you, Vidya? Have you walked away from
Yeah,
something?
yeah. For me, it is no walking away. So I was just telling about coffee. I pushed the coffee timings. So I used to wake up and have coffee as first thing. And these days, or like for many years now, I've been drinking like half-liter water as soon as I wake up, just sitting on my bed, which has been very, very helpful. And so then I have breakfast, then I have my coffee. So even that gave me a great sense of achievement. It's
Mhm.
something that I was so used to for many years and kind of pushed it out. Gayatri, anything from you?
For me, I think uh, it, it's more giving up on ideas that I thought I wanted in life.
Okay.
So one of the things, one of the big things for me is that a career was huge for me. To be perceived a certain way, to bring in a certain kind of income, and also to, in a way, prove to myself that, I can pull it off. But when I had my kids, then I stopped working for a while because that was the choice that was seemed right at that point. So for me to give up on fixed ideas that I had, some of them were excruciatingly hard for me because I found a sense of validity and also definition of who I am with that. So, yes, I have given up, but it's more on the level of ideas. I still have my coffee first thing in the morning, and that is uncompromisable.
Yeah, it's a really good
Nice.
question because there's so many levels of attachment, and attachment is in so many things and people and situations, and relationships and your history and ideas and the way we think. And I mean, come on, even belief systems, right? Like we're attached to our belief system. And then how many people like are believe one thing, believe in the church or believe in their dogmatic practices in any certain religion. It's hard for them to let go of and then think think about just a connection with oneness with everything else. So even that, there's an attachment, because there's so many, it's so complicated, because it's not just that belief, but it's the relationship from that belief, the community that's, connected to that belief. Like, it's just so many things. So on so many levels. So huge question, but very good question.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
do think you change with age, right? Like as you grow older, I feel you let go of many things that mattered to you once upon a time, right? For me, it's also like some of the friendships that I had, and I had to maintain at certain level just because I want to be in the group. Um, Now, like after I became 40, I'm like, no, whether is it worthwhile? Is it worth my time and energy? Do I really have the same frequencies? Do I have to put up with certain type of people that I don't gel well with? It's making a lot of difference in my life. So I do think with age comes maturity, and then you realize, what is important to you.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for this amazing discussion. Very, very wonderful insights and input from everyone. And if you're watching this, we encourage you to join in the conversation in the comment section. And also, if you have a question for us to bring to our forum of 4, then please do so, and subscribe to our channel and spread the word and share our channel with others that you think might enjoy the discussions and want to join our community of seekers. So with that, everyone, have a wonderful day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Okay.